Alright, it's going to be a quick one today, checking out the demo of Parking Garage Rally Circuit for the PC. It's available on Steam. The full game hasn't been released yet, but a playable demo came out on Steam a week or two ago, and the reason this game is relevant to, the good old channel here, is that hopefully you could tell already by the footage on the screen, but the game has been purposefully made to look like a sort of quote-unquote Sega Saturn, given a Sega Saturn graphical aesthetic to it, which it really caught my eye. It looks absolutely amazing. The game's made by a solo dev. His name is Tim, but the company name is Walaber Entertainment. I hope I'm saying that right. And I really love these one-man projects that are sort of niche items like this, because that means the dev is really passionate about what they're doing for this game specifically. And it means they're really passionate about the Sega Saturn. I mean, why would you make a game purposefully to look like launch an older Sega Saturn game if you didn't really like that look? I mean, it's not going to sell like a trillion copies or anything. So it's a passion project. It's something that someone wants to do in their soul. And I commend Mr. Tim for that. So, about the game, it's an arcade-style racing game that really does almost feel like it could have been made by Sega back in the day, like 100%. The controls are super sharp, but it's arcade-style, which is what Sega's known for, right? And it's what I like in a racing game. I like arcade racers. I am not a big sim racing fan whatsoever. And I mean, the main strength of the game is the graphical style in that sense. And when you actually first boot up the game, you actually have some pretty cool graphic options. So you can sort of slightly customize it how you want to play it. It's got 4 presets when you boot it up. They're all pretty nice, but you can customize it further in the options menu if you want to mix and match some things. But the presets are pretty good. Like, one is the classic sort of Sega Saturn mode. It's 4:3, 320 pixels, and 30 FPS. Most Sega Saturn games were 320 pixels. Some of them were 352, but most of them were 320. So this is sort of just, this is the classic, hey, you're playing this on a Sega Saturn hardware. 2 is a 16:9 ratio emulator look that goes up to 60 frames per second. 3 is a 16:10 ratio 60 frames per second look, which mimics sort of a handheld, maybe like an emulator handheld with a slightly wider screen. And 4 is a complete PC port version, 16:9 with an unlocked frame rate. They all look great, honestly, but like I said before, you can customize it sort of any way you want in the options menu too. As you can see from the footage, the graphics in the game are super sharp. And as a homage to the Sega Saturn, it looks so nostalgic to me. And to me, it just looks killer. Like, I love the look of it. I love the sharpness with the sort of, classic Sega Saturn graphical flaws from back in the day, which are, purposefully represented here. And they're so good. Like, the pop-in is there. And even better, the no transparency dithering shadows on the shadows and, the dust trails in the cars and, the ghost cars that you're racing against. It's all the dithered mesh from the Sega Saturn. No transparencies here, okay? And it looks so cool. I just love the visual style, to be quite honest. And the sounds and the music of the game, too, really match what you would expect if Sega officially made this game back in the day. In my mind, at least, it's got a very Daytona, bumpy, sort of poppy, upscale vibe to it. I could absolutely see this music being in an official Sega, racing game back in the day. And now the gameplay plays very close to, obviously, Sega Rally Championship, one of the greatest racing games of all time. Which obviously also has rally in the title, right? Because you're drifting. So that's a big thing in this game, is a big thing in Sega Rally. The drifting in Parking Garage Rally obviously has more of a Mario Kart boost feel to it, where you can, drift through the corners and it gives you a speed boost after you get out of the corners. It's super easy, super satisfying. The controls are like literally spot on. Like, the car does exactly what you want it to do. The controls aren't floaty at all, which happens a lot at times with, you know, rally racers, especially sort of realistic rally racers. But not here. It plays like a dream. One thing to note as you're playing is you don't actually race against other cars. This could be a good thing for some people, could be a bad thing for some people. I'm just telling you how the game is. You can make up your own mind about that. So the game uses a ghost system, so you're not racing against other cars. You're racing against, you know, there's cars that represent the, you know, different times in the track, you know, gold, bronze, silver. And there are other people's ghost cars, and there are other people that have played the game and are recording, you know, track times. But what that means is there's no interaction with other cars. You can't crash into them or anything. They're just ghosts. They're just there to give you a goal and a visual of someone to beat. I don't mind this at all, but some people might not. You got to make up your own mind about that. And obviously the demo is pretty limited in a lot of things. It is just a demo after all. Get your feet wet, wet your whistle a little bit. There's 2 car classes to try out of the 3 in the final version. You can slightly customize the looks of both of them. There's some, you know, flair you can put on your car. You can choose your colors. And there's only 2 tracks of what looks like 8 in the final release. It looks like there's going to be 8 tracks total in the final release. There's only 2 here. But having said that, if you're a Sega Saturn mega fan, I think you owe it to yourself to give the game a try for sure. It's a free download. It's a demo. Go. Open up Steam. Click the green button. That's it. It's a passion project that really is a love letter to the Sega Saturn era, and man is it fun. I can't wait to give the full release run through, and if it looks cool to you, you should download it and wishlist it on Steam right now, today. Support indie devs that make cool stuff like this. So guys, gals, non-binary pals, thanks for the quick one today. I'll end with some, you know, footage of the game. So thanks for checking the video. It's going to be a shorter one today, but you know, it is what it is. It's a great game. Go check it out.